Yes.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So, welcome to our weekly cast, Get Resource, where we talk about getting resource to self source and others. And today we're calling in from our new space here, new place, new space. It's been a full last week, hasn't it?
Oh my goodness. Moving is not, well, it's fun and it's not fun.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
so
lot of work
tiring.
involved. I know,
There
very
is.
tiring, physically, mentally, and then because of that, there's no capacity for anything emotionally. So my default is to numb myself and work myself into the ground. I can see that happening. Um, but before you go there, in terms of capacity, check in. What's alive in you, Summer?
Oh, I have a mild headache and I'm feeling tired, just tired today. It's been a little up and down. So, yep, feel this mild pressure in my head. What's alive in you?
Um, a bit rushed actually. Jumping onto here just about 10 minutes ago, and just rushing to set everything up in this space and everything. So, that's just awareness of some anxiousness. So taking some time to land right now, just to breathe, slow things down. And I'm here, excited to talk
Okay.
about capacity. Yeah.
Yes, capacity. What is that really?
Mm,
I think a lot of people in relationship, you know, don't ask others what their
mm,
capacity is before engaging in conversations and asking for help and so many things. And it's not something that I was ever taught to do. And so yeah, what is capacity? Mine right
mm,
now, if I were to judge from 0 to 10, is probably at a 4. It's pretty low.
mm.
Where are you at?
I'd say, because I didn't work myself in the ground right now. I'd say it's an 8 right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's funny,
like
we
my
tend to
my
be
fuel
like
tank, my fuel tank.
your fuel tank, yeah.
Hmm.
The other day I was up, you were down, so we're kind of switching places here.
Yeah, that's interesting. That happens quite common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do we define capacity?
Yeah. Well, capacity for me is like, how big is my container to be able to hold life's challenges without blowing a gasket, without getting triggered, becoming reactive, holding uh, people's emotions, holding temper tantrums, holding people cutting me off, like life, right? Anything that throws at me, how much can I stay calm, grounded, and centered, and also being able to speak from a respectful, clear place, right? Because I realize if my capacity is low, then I'm more irritable, right? I'm more frustrated, I'm more annoyed, I'm tense, I'm stressed. And so my words come out that way because it doesn't matter what I say, it's what I put into the words.
Hmm.
And so it's my tone, it's my body language. I'm being passive aggressive or I'm being aggressive. Like it's either or, right? It's a pendulum. So when my capacity is low, it's easier for the pendulum to swing back and forth because there's momentum. It's either going back and forth. And for me to center it and be in alignment and grounded, I need capacity to really ground myself, to have awareness of being in this mental path. If my capacity is low and you're telling me to hold space, you're telling me to speak consciously, be in my sage mode, my inner Yoda, it's like next to impossible, right? It's like me not taking self care, me eating crappy food, me not having proper sleep, me working 16-hour days. Like that adds up to the point where like my health suffers, but not only my physical health, my relationships suffer because I have no capacity to be in a loving space, right? Because I'm so stressed. Like I'm in that fight or flight mode, and I need to take self-care. And looking at the last 4 days, 5 days of moving, man, is a lot of work. And I don't move that often. This is like my only official move really that I've been really a part of. And I don't want to do it again. I don't, because I'm the type of guy that values effectiveness, efficiency, and competence. And so the next time I'm gonna hire a moving company. I'm gonna hire a cleaning company. I ain't gonna do it myself. Heck no. After going through what I've gone through, it could be a lot worse. We got help and support. Thank you. So grateful for it. But it's still a lot of work. And I find my saboteurs because it's such a new space for me that my hyperachiever wanting to get things done and my restless getting so many things done at once and my pleaser of wanting to be a good boy and show that I'm doing work has run me into the ground. And there's so
Mm.
much more boxes. There's so much more things. There's so much more things to do. It's like I can imagine if I had a huge house or a huge lawn, I'd be out cleaning the house 24/7, doing landscaping 24/7. There's so much to do, right? So that's the awareness of like, how can I give myself breaks in between? But now that I've really experienced allowing my hyperachiever, restless, and pleaser to run me into the ground, I've been there now. I know what that feels
Oh,
like. I know the consequences. It's as if I got to learn hard way, and I like it. It's like let's try this out and see how far I can go. But unfortunately, there's consequences, right? There's a fallout. Summer, being a fallout of that.
oh, yeah. Oh, yep. The pressure of hyperachiever, restless. Ugh.
That reminds me of like one of our clients that we supported, right? With mediation, how that part, those saboteur parts can take over, and then I can feel resentful, judging other people for not doing as much as I'm doing, right?
Mhm.
And then that affects the whole space, affects everyone.
Actually, I think the client you're speaking of, she had the exact similar
Yep,
saboteurs at the top of her list there. Oh,
yep.
yeah. Um,
I pretty much played it out.
yeah, you did. You did. It was, yeah. And I'm saboteurs. They're an assessment you can take if, in case you don't know what they are. It's a beautiful assessment that helps in uh, all sorts of relationships, teamwork. It's amazing. Created by Shirzad Samin. Um, I don't have a hyperachiever. My restless is lower, and so I've moved. Gosh, I don't even know how many times I've moved. I've moved so many times in my life. 15, 20, maybe, like
Wow.
quite a lot. So I would judge that I have a higher capacity for chaos than you do.
Mhm.
I don't mind sitting in it and, just taking a time out and enjoying the time, even though there's boxes and it'll get done. Um, but I notice it's like, oh, for you, your space, it has to be done like ASAP. And
It's just kind
yeah,
of like the suitcase thing that I was sharing with you, right?
the what?
How where if I go on vacation, I pack a suitcase and I get
Yes.
to a
Yeah.
hotel or a place,
Yeah.
there's a part of me that wants to unload everything, to
Yeah.
feel uh, space, to feel at
Yeah.
ease because everything is in order. I know where things are at and I can see it. Same thing coming home, right? I have my suitcase and I'm like, I'm ready to unpack it, put it back to where it belongs. Because there's this need for efficiency. There's a need for clarity where I feel at ease when I know where things are at. I know where that screwdriver is. I know where my contact solution lenses is. It's like mapped out as a file directory in my mind. And when that's there, I can breathe. It's interesting, isn't it? But when things are in boxes, this creates this anxiousness of me right? And then just for me to notice, I'm like, maybe I can get to that later. Maybe I can think about if I needed that glasses case, I can go look for it rather than just go balls to the walls, unpack everything. But at the same time, I'm really impressed with my hyperachiever because I got up one morning and I set up my computer room. Like boom. Like in like half hour, 40 minutes, got to work and got it done. Right. So
That is impressive. I'd have to
yeah,
say that that is impressive.
got the garage organized just like that. Woke up, let's go get it done. Boom, clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you have spurts of energy, it's just the question of taking those breaks, going to the gym, going for walks, resting, going on my phone, just zoning out for a bit before, you know, man, I was just on hyperdrive.
Yeah, that
Packing, moving, cleaning.
hyperdrive, and I could see it happening, just like a train wreck ready to happen. I was even like, Drake, maybe you should go lay down. Maybe you should take a rest. He even knew he wasn't having any self care. Me, on the other hand, when I go to a warm climate, going to the beach, I'm like, woohoo! Throw my suitcase in the room, and I'm right to the beach. I don't need to unpack right away. I'm like, I want to get to the good part. I want to relax for a bit and then I can come back because after a plane ride, it's so exhausting, anyways. So, in a lot of ways, we're a lot opposite. And that's what happens with couples, isn't it? Opposites
Mm,
really do
yeah,
attract. It's no joke. Opposites attract.
mm,
And I think it's because it helps balance out the scales of what's going on. Now Andre's going to be okay. Maybe I'll be a little less hyperachiever, restless, and I'll maybe take a little bit more self care. And for me, I'm learning more structure, more
mm,
organization, more efficiency in what I do. And I recognize a really high need to do it too, because that in
yeah.
itself can be draining.
Hmm. Yeah. And it's kind of like the middle path, right? Of finding that middle ground. It's not one extreme to the other. Because the other extreme is like me not doing anything, right? And I judge myself to be lazy. Though at the same time, like it's not like taking care of the priorities, like getting the kitchen utensils organized so we can eat, right? Or having our workspaces set up for this weekend, or having the computer room set up so that we can do these calls, right? So there are certain priorities that need to be taken care of, and if I just sat around and did nothing, I just put myself in a more stressful
Oh,
state.
well,
So it's not the extreme of the other, right? It's like finding that fine line and measuring my capacity, because now it goes back to like self-care, right? Self-care is what tops that fuel up. Taking power naps, going to the gym, going for walks, resting, that space. And I judge it's so easy to be busy. Speaking as a hyperachiever restless, I can create work out of thin air, you know
isn't that the
and
thing?
adding the pleaser, especially in a work environment, like, don't worry, I got it. I'll take care of that. Suggest an idea and be like, who wants to volunteer for that? Okay, sure, I will. Right. So it's knowing like where my limits are, and being okay if someone makes a suggestion. Who wants to take care of that? I don't want to. Right.
Yeah, and this is a common thing in our culture. Burnout, adrenal fatigue, all of those things are for a
Yeah.
result of lack of capacity and people not being aware that they're driving themselves into the ground, just like that. How do people talk about
Yeah.
self-care, self-love, but our culture is so anti-self-care, anti-self-love, anti-capacity. I think, I mean, there's so many people, divorces, family conflicts. Our intern Naomi was talking about many different people leaving so many different churches, so many different conflicts coming up, workplaces being considered mental health hazards. The capacity of human beings right now on a general scale seems to be, based on my observation, extremely low.
Mm.
So many financial
Yeah, and when
issues.
that yeah, when that happens, it's easy to get triggered and reactive and say the wrong things or have things come out sideways.
Yeah, people start fights. So why? Yeah, like
Yeah.
the economic systems right now are really low, the inflation's high, the minimum wage hasn't gone up for I'm not sure how many years. This is interesting. And I'm not going to get into politics, but it feels as though the human race is under a bit of a pressure cooker. I don't think there's ever been a time where we all need to have two jobs or three or four now, not never mind two income earners. People have two or three or four jobs right now. So, how is it that we can increase our capacity even knowing that?
Mm.
What are the things that we can do?
Man, it's a struggle if if I was struggling financially, right? And in a position where I'm just used to trading time for money and I'll just get another job or work longer or work overtime
Yeah.
and just work myself into the ground. Or even some workplaces like we had someone share like, hey, they preach family values, be at home with your family, but here and then they want you to work overtime. They want you to work 16-hour days. And it's like the exact opposite of what they're preaching, right? Because how can I be the best when I'm so drained at work that I come home and I just want to numb and disconnect? I have no capacity to be with my family, to be with my loved ones, to hold space. Like I'm spent. And then that perpetuates the saboteurs, right? Because the other end is like, I don't feel heard. I'm not loved, right? Like you're disconnected. And that could come out sideways as well because I'm not replenished with that need for intimacy. And so it just cycles, cycles, cycles until what I notice is it creates a blow up, a huge argument, and it needs to get to that point like a crisis for like a wake up call to happen. Be like, holy shit, this is a problem. We can't keep coming into the cycle because when it's just a slow burner, nobody notices, right? Nobody notices until it it goes on fire. The house burns down, and then people start to take notice, and then people start to want to make that change.
Right? Healing crisis, life crisis. If anyone's watching this, they can
You know,
send a message. I do have a what is a healing crisis and how to navigate it successful free video for you. Um, it's also about the benefits of being sick. Yeah, I think as a culture, something definitely needs to shift. And for people, like what can they do? Um, I think people are starting to recognize the need for relationships. We've gotten to such a crisis point. There's so many nuclear families. We do everything. We cook, we clean, we have a house, we do the vacuuming, we have, why does every family have their own Wi-Fi account, their own, you know, lawnmower? Like, why isn't it that we share more resources? And maybe it's because we don't know how to communicate. We don't know how to be in relationship. We wonder if people are going to take stuff or break stuff, and then we don't know how to negotiate how that is fixed later. So we all have our own stuff that sometimes we hoard, that we take a lot. And a lot of people, we have too much stuff, myself included. I am exhausted moving all of this stuff. I don't want all of this stuff. I want to get rid of some of it because it's actually draining. It reduces my
mm.
capacity to have so much stuff to look after.
Yeah, I'm shocked about the amount of stuff that comes out of a house. Like at first, like I look at it, I'm like, wow, our place is nicely organized. But then when you take it out, it's like a clown car. It keeps coming out of the woodwork. And there is a lot of stuff, and I mean, it's the culture, I look at the culture, it's a capitalistic consumerist culture, buying and Amazon and Black Friday sales and Christmas, and it's all like purchasing, and that's an addiction as well, right? The addiction to shopping, to buying things,
I
you know?
think that's my
The
primary
addiction to having
addiction. Yep,
mm,
I do.
it's soothing in a way. Yeah, and have something new or nice pair of clothes or so forth, so forth. I mean, it's just going back to that balance piece, right? And at the same time, physically, every family is physically separated with four walls. Like everybody has their own home. In their own home, they have their own stuff. So the physical space doesn't lend itself well to sharing resources, Even like Wi-Fi routers are like not as strong so that it doesn't span the neighborhood. Maybe we probably don't want a strong Wi-Fi network because it might scramble our brain, right? Though perhaps like a fiber optic cable that's shared amongst, but hey, how can you profit from that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Who is
Yeah,
profiting from all of this? Hmm. I
yeah.
watched a video recently about because our energy is literally drained, right? We have no capacity. We're working hard. And where are we usually working? You know, um, for big companies, for other things often. And where does this energy come from? We have false energy. Now we've got electricity, we've got money, and someone talked about being that the false energy source versus and being disconnected from the natural energy source, the field, which is the Earth's energy field, everything around us, source itself, our electromagnetic field that exists in our body, and the natural energy increases when we're doing things like self expression, physical exercise, and connecting to other people. And when we're so
Mhm,
busy, we're not doing that at all. There's no
mm,
presence.
yeah,
Our
mm,
brain
yeah.
is
And speaking of that,
on
like,
hyperdrive.
mm, right, yeah, in the head. And I find like when I'm with people with presence, teaching last night, it's such a
Yeah,
recharger. Like it replenishes my capacity,
it
doesn't it?
does. Yeah,
Like even when I'm drained and when I come into a space where we're openly, vulnerably sharing, like I'm topped
yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, around the wrong people, I'll be like, huh, the other way around.
Yeah, the right people who have the openness, the vulnerability, even the humor, yeah, that aren't necessarily, I guess, addicted to different
Mm,
substances too. That can be draining. Mhm. Yeah,
yeah. And capacity, I liken it to a battery, right? And how we teach conscious communication of owning all of what's happening within me, including the positively charged and the negatively charged emotions. And I love how you reference it to a car battery. If I pull out the negative charge, which means like avoiding all those negatively charged feelings like anger, sadness, shame, guilt, whatever, then I'm essentially removing the negative charge. And what happens to a car battery when you remove the negative thing? It doesn't start. So same thing with this human battery that I am. That sleep recharges it, right? What else recharges it? When I allow that energy to move, when I speak to it, just like the vulnerable nature of like when I'm seen and heard, the quality of presence I'm given, or I offer that quality of presence to another. There's something about it that recharges me.
hmm.
What is that?
Well,
Right?
it
Why?
goes back to oh, hello, Anita.
Hey, Anita.
It goes back
Welcome.
to, and thank you for that great discussion. Avatar, that scene, because I think when people connected, we create an energetic field, a force.
So it's just to clarify for the audience, what scene are you referring
Oh,
to?
right, I didn't clarify that. It's because my capacity is so low. um, for
I
those
can
of you who
support you
watched
with that.
Avatar, and I remember Debbie just contacted me. She's like, I watched it for the first time. She's like, it was so good. Um, they're in front of Awa, the mother tree, and everyone has, you can't see me, but their arms out and they're all swaying in unison in front of the tree. And I think this is where even nuclear families aren't in unison anymore. People are
Mm,
shattered. They don't know how to connect. There's these judgments, these mental compartments that we all try to put each other in, that we've been taught in school. We've been taught to compete, to compare, to rush, to, make money. Like you said, this very capitalistic society. And I think a lot of people don't know what to do. They're at a loss, but like you said, as the
mm,
crisis starts to creep in and everybody's like, "Oh my God, this is horrific." We have a couple of friends, they've lost a lot of big houses and relationships and things like that. And sometimes that's what it takes. Wow, something
mm.
isn't right here. What is it? And how
Mm.
can we work together to solve it? It's a good question.
Mhm.
Hello.
Yeah, and it starts with having this discussion, right? Having this open discussion about the state of things. Interesting. Because I mean, if my learnings was from my parents and then from school teaching me get a good job, right? Go to school, right? Get married, have a kid, have a family, like the typical, and that's the only thing I knew. So I'm just following that script, right? Of like, oh, if I buy this thing, I'll
Who
be
made
happy.
that script?
Until like I come down the line, I'm like, wait a minute, I have all these things and I don't feel happy. What's going on here? Right?
Yeah, and I
And it's
think you
like
discovered
escaping.
that in your software job, didn't you? Oh, bless you.
Thank you. There's a sneeze coming there.
Yeah, it's that script. Who wrote that script and why are we following it?
Mm,
Who wrote it? And without getting into politics, because I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, should Alberta separate? So we do all these different things, and there's voting and all of this stuff going on. And for me, I actually find that quite an energy drain. Again, I have lower capacity when have those things. But what if we did things from the ground up? What if we learned how to communicate to those closest to us, to our families, instead of arguing or trying to fix things or fight for some kind of uh, climate change or whatever the next thing is? Because there seems to be a lot of popular movements and they just seem to change and shift quite often. What if the movement was just connection with my loved ones? True connection. The
mm,
spiritual practice of presence to truly be with someone else, to empathically connect. We would all be tuned into ourselves and our own batteries. You know how much energy we'd all have? We'd have so
mm,
much capacity to share, to communicate, to be creative, to solve it, problem solve. We wouldn't need to be connected to a lot of large companies and different things like that. But the challenge is, it's not easy, right? Sometimes we're
mm,
very prone to comfort and the easy route.
mm.
And oh, I love Jarrett. I hope we get him on here. We had a friend, Jarrett, who helped us move. Actually, he didn't help us move. He just came and enjoyed pizza afterwards, which was great.
Yeah.
Because,
Enjoy his
yeah, we
presence.
enjoyed his presence. What was so great about what he shared was he said that instant gratification is an addiction. And I've never considered that before. And he noticed it driving over that he had this urge for fast food. And as he noticed this urge for fast food because he was hungry, he was like, wait a sec, that's an instant gratification thing. Maybe I don't necessarily need that. So he thought it for a bit and then he decided, no, I'm not going to go get that. And then the remarkable thing happened and he wasn't hungry. So then he had the capacity to then go make his own food. So interesting. Instant gratification. How many ways do we need instant gratification? Shopping. They make those aisles so that you can buy stuff quickly. This is going to be my
Mm,
biggest practice in the next little while, to see what that does to my capacity is to wait, because I actually never considered instant gratification to be an addiction. Like, it's never crossed my mind. And I think that's maybe what all addictions are, is based in that. What do you think, based on what Jared said?
Well, I think addiction is disconnected from myself. Addiction is anything in balance, right? If I do anything in an extreme and repetitively over time, um, there's something to gain from that, right? There's some need of mine that's being met by that, and so it's going deeper. Like, okay, is this healthy or unhealthy for me? Even the root word of addiction is, addiction, disconnection, right? Dictatorship.
Dictatorship, yeah.
Giving, giving my power away, right? So if I'm giving my power away to McDonald's because every time I see it, I crave it, and there's really it's unconscious, right? Do I have a conscious choice of making that decision? And when I think about instant gratification, I think about, for me, an addiction to urgency,
Mm.
that everything needs to get done now. Like, it goes back to my restlessness, that everything needs to done now, be done fast. So I feel good about myself. I have a lot of things checked off already. I answered, 10 emails, 20 texts, got a few checklists done, and I feel proud of myself. And it starts all over again.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been taught that, haven't we? So how do we unwire that? I know, there's this guilt thing. Okay, I didn't get enough done. I didn't do enough paperwork. That many people think that they don't ever do enough in a day. I mean, one of our clients said that, he's always thinking there's so much to do. I've got so much to do and I don't get enough done. And when I don't get done, then I don't feel good about myself. And then I'm short and I'm edgy with everybody else. Why is it that we're often born with the idea that we're not good enough? Even with all this stuff we have and all the things that we do and the extracurricular activities that we do, and we drive ourselves into the ground with all of this stuff and this doing. I mean, not everybody, but I would say our culture is really prone to that. Yeah. Oh, and who
Mm.
does that say? I love that.
Yeah. Tabitha, thanks for the comment. Welcome.
Mm.
Yeah. Every day, every minute, it is a decision, because my unconscious is there with me. Like, the habits are there ingrained, and I can be on autopilot. It serves a reason, right? So that way I don't have to learn stick shift or driving manually, right? Or learn how to cook a certain meal, right? It's like, it's logged, it's programmed, cool. But sometimes, it doesn't serve me in terms of bad habits, right? Well, I'll say unhealthy habits, that affect my physical health and my mental and emotional health, right? And so you asked that question. So how do we stop that? Well, it starts with awareness, like having a conversation like this. It starts with having reminders throughout the day to pause and reflect. Oh, to check in with myself. Am I running on autopilot here? And to check in. Wait, do I need to course correct, or am I on the right path? And so we all know this. It all makes sense. Everybody's like, yeah, 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 yeah. I've heard this on the podcast, or I read this from a book. Though it's so easy for me, I'll speak for myself, to fall back. And so I got to be in an environment that supports me, to remind myself to slow down, to create structures and systems, right? To free up my time, that I'm not doing anything all the time, right? How can I duplicate myself, right? How can I, like, use AI to, you know, lessen my workload, right? So of course, everything in balance, right? I can use AI as a way to outsource my thinking completely, and I'm no longer myself.
Well,
True
and
copy and paste
this
over.
is where I kind of go, because AI, we've got car openers now, car starters. Eventually, because most people now, like young kids, they don't know where food comes from. They think it comes from the shelf. They don't know how to garden. They don't know how to do anything. Eventually, we push a button to start a car. Or even more, hey Siri, start my car. Hey Siri, turn on the light. Hey Siri, what if Siri stops? People aren't going to know how to turn on lights, start their car, make food. Like, we'd be so dependent on these things that we have no idea how to take care of ourselves in any way, shape, or form. We talk to Siri, she gives it to us. What do we need to do? We won't even know the most basic thing about, like putting on our own shoes. There'll be a little shoe insert, and it's like, put on shoe. Kind of reminds me of that
Well, I
movie
mean,
with
Wally.
Wally, right? I mean, is that where we're headed?
Well, it's the extreme, right? I mean, it can head there, though that requires consciousness, that requires a check-in and awareness. Certain things might make sense to outsource. Like, I don't mind outsourcing to a robot to clean the house. That's like a lot of time to spend cleaning the house. I don't want it to be doing that.
Yeah, but
I
spiritually,
better
okay,
my
here's
time
this. I'm gonna
better
call you out on
reserved.
this. What about spiritually? You talk to the men. Do you chop wood? Do you carry water? Your everyday tasks, the meditative. Like if you just keep wanting to do certain things,
Mhm.
like
Well, some people like tend to their, gardening, and it's very therapeutic. It's very good for the mind. And so I just got to know what the benefit is. I like washing dishes. We don't have a dishwasher. I don't mind washing dishes because it's therapeutic for me. But to clean the house like all over the place, like it's a lot of work. And there's my stickler that comes in of like picking everything on the floor or sweeping everything. And that's why people have those Roombas to sweep up, right? And so I think it's not extreme or to the other. The black and white thinking is what gets us in trouble, right? It's context based and it's situationally based. We're based people we're at. So that requires a conscious decision to check in. And this goes back to capacity. Everybody has a different capacity and everybody has a different way of recharging that capacity. It's more about the sovereignty of each individual to have the tools, the inner technology to check in with themselves and get
yeah,
resourced. Right. And when you talked about, hey, if I really deeply connect with my family, that's really what all I need. Like, I was listening to his one podcast, like, and I really resonate with him. Like, growing up, I wanted approval from people. I wore designer brands, and something about people saying, "Wow, that's a nice shirt. That's a nice sunglasses." It gave me this sense of worth. And you know what? I judge it's quite sad that I want this based on the clothes and the car that I drove. That I based my sense of worth based on that, right? And where am I going with this? Is that after a while, I actually, care less of what people think of me in terms of, we talked about this last night, their judgments of me. What car I
mm,
drive, what do I wear, how my hair is, what my mustache is, my beard is laid out, right? Or what I was Mr. Professional. I made sure that I was shaved clean all day, every day. My hair was on point, got a haircut every week and a half, 2 weeks, made sure my clothes were like pressed, everything, drove a beamer, like professional, spoke well, and now I'm just like growing my hair, growing my mustache. Even my mom's like, "Man, you look like a hobo." But now she's really accepted it. She did. She's like, she's gotten used to it. I'm like, hey, because I'm owning it, right? So where I'm coming from this, like, I care less about what people judge me about. But you said, well, I do care about my effect on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if my actions were to make them sad, again, I'm not responsible for how they feel, though I am responsible for what I put in the field, for what I bring, and how I say, how I treat them. Am I treating them with kindness or am I being a dick about it? Right. So that's where I'm coming from. And then eventually, where I heard from this podcast was eventually I just need a small group of people. That's it. Like the people I really care about are the people I love, you know? And if I have deeper, real conversations with the close people in my life, that's all I really need. This is for me. And it makes life very simple because what I'm seeing with this economy is this one person economy where every person has a car. I look, I guilty of this too. I drive and I'm like the only one in the car. And that's why they have carpool lanes, right? You look around, most of the people driving cars are one individual person. Okay. Everybody has a phone. Okay. Hey, maximum economy, right? Maximum profits when you have each individual person paying for something. But then when the family group structure is so connected, it's like I've duplicated myself. It's like what I admire about people coming to this country, some, they buy a house together, they live together, they save a lot of money, and they buy another house. They buy another house. So they've kind of pooled their resources together consciously, right? And of course, it requires communication as well, right? On that to make that work. But it's like a mini city. It's like a mini tribe. It's like a mini community. If only two people got together and teamed up, it creates so much more. And imagine three, so much more, right? It's abundant. Like the apple tree produces more apples than you can eat for yourself. That's what happens when summer takes care of the tomatoes. I take care of the carrots, right? Todd takes care of the potatoes. We bring it together. We have more than
Well,
enough.
I mean, that's a great
Nature will.
theory. Just like Michael Tellinger wrote the book Ubuntu with community. Community sounds great until you meet with everyone's saboteurs, their triggers, their traumas, and then it's excuse my French, a shit show, right? So that's where the
Mm.
foundation of everything is communication, is recognizing what your capacity is. It's first, what's my capacity? What's the communication for myself? What is it that I need? And I think we've been so stripped from our own acknowledgement of what's going on in my body when I don't feel well. We're told to, take a pill to feel better. Like we just are encouraged just to keep going all the time. I mean, still, there's not really a lot of companies with mental health days. It's all about
Mm.
economies of scale and go, 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 do, do, do. And we're not
Yeah.
machines.
Product-
And so for me, it's all about that avatar thing. How do we stay connected? How do we get consciously reconnected? And for me, it's about courage. It's about being prepared to be uncomfortable in a different way. It's about being vulnerable to really learn how I really do operate through the mirror of other people, through slowing down. And I saw a video for our friend Chelsea. She was pouring tea in her wonderful tea ceremonies today. Slow thinking ties together bigger concepts. When we're so fast with things, all we're doing is looking at what's right in front of us. Quick, let's quickly get in the car. Let's go to the shop. Let's get shopping done. We don't get to see the bigger picture of, oh, maybe where I'm getting my food from isn't the right place to get it from. Maybe I should get it from the farmer who owns the bison and have the time to resource these things in a different way, rather than doing the easy, comfortable things, either financially, physically, or emotionally.
Mm.
And it goes back to this addiction to instant gratification.
Mm.
See how I tied that together?
Yeah.
By
And
accident?
yeah, I love it. And also, like, if my capacity is low, then I'm more easily susceptible to instant gratification. Because when my capacity is low, my saboteurs are driving the bus, not my higher self. Right. For me to be conscious, I'm more unconscious when I'm low on energy. I'm sleepy and tired. Right. Haven't taken care of myself. So it's all connected, isn't it?
Yeah, I see there's quite a few comments. What are people saying? What
Yeah.
we got here?
Yeah. I'm not sure what Frank said there. I think he's having a chat with Anita. No
Hmm.
comments there. But
Oh,
Tabitha here, I'll
community.
bring it up. Yeah, phone put on do not disturb. Yeah, that's a great feature. I don't particularly use that feature. Frequency and communication. Raise our awareness and be consciously open to learn and grow. Yeah. It's check-in points, right? Check in. And even then, like what supports me is even sharing. I don't have capacity right now to have this conversation or to answer this question. Right. Because I know that if I answer it, I might dig myself a grave, right? It might start something. I'm not resourced. So it's okay. It's okay for me to admit that, yeah, I'm not in the right place right now. I don't have capacity for this right now. And I can better serve that by saying, how about we check in with this tomorrow or on this day? So it's not like, oh, let me get back to you and never get back to you, right?
Yeah, that clear and specific communication about the
Clear.
time to reconnect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, my ex-husband, he'll readily admit even after we got divorced. He's like, "Yeah, I used to say I'd get back to you, and I know I never did."
Great way to avoid.
Avoidance is real. So funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what are you gonna do to replenish your capacity today?
Well, I did lay on the ground before this. Got some grounding in and some sunlight, which felt great. I'm feeling the need to take another nap, honestly. Yeah, you said, yeah, let's go for a bike ride. No, that doesn't feel
Mm.
good in my body. I'm like, bike ride? Hell no. No way. Nope, not today.
Soon, though, right?
Yeah, I think the bike ride thing comes, at my capacity above 5, like maybe 6. I'm at a 4, so yeah.
Mm. Tabitha says, get outside. It's beautiful out. Yeah.
It is so
Uh,
beautiful. I
Beautiful.
actually had a beautiful nap on the grass outside in the sunlight. It was so extremely beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the capacity to actually enjoy it because my head just feels so
Mm.
tight. It's like it's screwed on the wrong angle. That's
Yeah.
what it feels like. I'm like,
Some
I
pressure.
haven't turned, yeah, I haven't turned that on the right way. Oh, so yeah, just looking forward to grounding in the house and having stuff organized so we don't have to have it organized again. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah.
work. But then once we got that in place, we're good. We're good for some time, right? And then we can
Yeah, and I'm looking
push
forward.
the
We're
note.
gonna have a staycation this summer, aren't we? And I'm actually
Yeah.
looking forward to not moving about too much and
Mm.
just enjoying the river
Yeah.
valley and the pools and being close by. Speaking of which, and hopefully having some new members added to our household.
Yeah. Yeah. A little mini community here and hosting, parties in our backyard, in our sunroom, get a fire pit, do some games nights. Yeah. Enjoy the
Yeah, and
neighborhood.
if
It's a
you
beautiful
guys haven't,
neighborhood.
Tabitha, I'm not sure, if you guys aren't a part of, we do have a Get Resourced Facebook group if you want to join us if you're on Facebook. It's called Get Resourced. You can find us on there. We'll let you
Yeah.
in there. Got
For
events happening
yeah.
for fun to get recharged in this reconnective way,
Yeah. Consciously. And in a way where,
consciously. Mm.
yeah, having the tools to communicate openly, real. Yeah.
Openly, I don't speak properly
Real,
with
raw, and relational.
real, raw people relationships. Yeah, not
Yeah.
this acting stuff. Fun, you'll
Woohoo.
join us. Yay, good.
Yay.
That'll be awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Fun nights. People need fun nights out. We'll go bowling too. I want to do that again. That
Yes.
was fun.
Yes. You
The
see,
girls
these
can
are all
bowl.
great, like capacity filling, right? Filling up the capacity. Yeah. Yeah.
Capacity cup. That's a good way to call it. The capacity cup. How full is yours?
Right. And you know what? Let me ask you this too. Like, what's the difference between the trigger scale and the capacity scale?
Oh, well, the capacity scale is basically how much energy you have. If you need to sleep, rest, recharge. The trigger scale, usually your trigger scale goes up the less capacity you have, but that isn't necessarily the case. The trigger scale is whether or not you have access to your frontal cortex.
Mm,
The more triggered we become, the more irrational we become.
mm.
Sometimes we black out, we forget. At a 10, we can, different
Allow our
people do
emotions to
different
run us.
things. What's that?
Allow our emotions to run us.
Allow our emotions to run us. Our capacity, our emotions aren't running us. We just notice that we're depleted and need to recharge. Whereas triggers can look a little more erratic. Um, when they're really high, it gets to the those violence places and those throwing things and people name calling, hitting eject, dissociating, all those types of things. Whereas capacity is just, I mean, you could get triggered, and you're more likely to get triggered when you have low capacity. Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
why it's so important to be able to identify your own capacity and to
Mm.
others to understand where you're at as well, and to have that be an important question to ask people.
Right. And it all starts with awareness. And what would you say, like, to those, if we leave with them the tools, the skills to become aware of the capacity? Like, what would you say would help with that? Hey, Travis. Welcome, brother.
Travis, hey, how's it going? Nice to see you. The tools to be aware of their capacity. That's a really good question. I think in our culture, considering the high rates of adrenal fatigue, burnout, and all of that stuff, that I don't, we aren't encouraged to recognize where our capacity is. Oh, but I do have a good story actually that comes to mind about that. My friend Kathy, she's been on here. She lives out on the island. When she worked for a company, because a lot of companies tend to cut on their breaks and force overtime, which means our capacity drops quite a lot. And a lot of us are afraid of losing our jobs when we ask for certain things. And this is where I encourage people to go a little bit outside their comfort zone, because everyone in a company is human and they need to be encouraged to create self-care for themselves. So Kathy, love this story. She was a marketing manager for a long time in a company, and they asked her to work overtime and work weekends and all of this stuff. And she was like, "Nah, no. On the weekend, I go mountain biking. I need to go mountain biking, and I'm going to go mountain biking." And she was, of course, prepared to be fired, but she wasn't. They're like, "Oh, okay." And so, if we're going to get a heart attack, be driven into the ground, not have the true health, and as Gandhi says, health is wealth. If we're working for a company that drives our health into the ground, maybe we need to have a little more courage to
Mm.
ask for what we truly need as a human being, and to start recognizing our capacities,
Mm.
and not make finance and money the first thing above our emotional and mental well-being.
Mm.
And yeah, does this mean, oh, maybe we, you know, might risk getting laid off? But people don't, it costs so much money to retrain other people. It costs a lot of money. If you do your job well, you're not going to get laid off. It's very expensive to replace people. I mean, really, it's slaves. It's a different type of slavery. It's no different from the cotton picking fields that I see today. People working 9, 2, 3, 4 jobs, 9, 10, 12 hour days. It's only that we're choosing to be slaves,
Mm.
probably doing even more work than back then. Self-inflicted in a lot of ways.
Mm. Well said. Yeah. And also, it's kind of like moving the old couch out and makes room for a new coach, right? So if that work culture doesn't serve my health, me taking care of myself, I create room for a company or a place where it does value my health, my mental health, my physical health. So it's sort of like boundaries, right? Clearly asking for what I need and want.
Yeah, back to those needs and wants there. Is
Yeah.
that there?
Travis says the new GM at my client's business just told the crew leader to ask for what he needs and not be scared to ask for what he needs. Leader set the tone and set the culture as well.
Ah, yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let's do good work. Do powerful work. You know, like slow down to speed up, isn't it? Like it goes back to like, can I produce high quality work and not having to be there 8 hours a day? I know when I was working my corporate job for 8 hours a day, there's a certain point I'm like, I'm just checked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Like I'm
and
not
this is
effective
where
anymore.
we've got a class. They call themselves rig pigs. Doctors, nurses, rig pigs. They work 14, 16-hour days. That's dangerous. Like the capacity of people, that's got to lower economies of scale and efficiencies when people aren't at the capacity. It doesn't work, but I don't understand why they do that. Do surgeons and physicians make more mistakes when they don't have enough sleep when they work for 24 or 36-hour shifts? Of course they do. Why would you even do that? Especially in healthcare. Healthcare, doctors and dentists are was it the first or the second most addicted because they have access to it and because they have to numb themselves from being a robot, being a slave to a system that makes no sense. And so we have to change that from the ground up. Like Travis
Yeah.
said, ask for what you
Yeah.
need. Every human being needs it. Why are we all complicit to a slave driven system like this when we don't have capacity to do it?
Yeah. Well, it starts with fear, right? And not knowing myself and what I want and my values. So it starts with coming within myself, creating space to do my inner work. So I get connected to my soul work, and bring that up. When I'm clear on what my truths are, my principles, my philosophy, my beliefs, my values, then I'm more congruent. And then I can ask for what I want. And again,
Ah,
most people don't know what they need. You know,
mm-hmm.
I follow the company culture. I toe the line because I want to fit in and I want to get fired. And that's based on a place of shame, guilt, and fear.
Yeah,
Right.
that
So
old
what
system,
once
man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it
Yep.
just takes each of us, starts from the bottom up, each individual person working on themselves, asking for what they need, and that just becomes a trickle effect, right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a beautiful video. The Oh, maybe I'm forgetting the name of it. The pyramid in the pool. Actually, I'd love to share that in our Facebook group in
Yeah.
regards to this. Maybe I'll put a link below this video actually, because it's such a brilliant thing. It's by a PhD sociologist talking about just that very thing. Ha!
Mm,
Rig or right pigs. Oh, what are right pigs?
I understand. I did rigs for 6 years, made executive income, nothing piggy about that.
Ah,
Great
uh-huh.
pigs, not right pigs. Yeah. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So where your capacity at? Checking in with yourself. The summer is here, coming around the corner. Lots of time to recharge from the sun juice, right? Get that vitamin E. Yeah.
Stunning, taking that in. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Enjoy the
So,
outdoors, be outside, breathe in that fresh air. Take care of yourselves, take care of your needs. Yeah. As you take
yeah.
care of your needs, you give people permission to take care of their own. When you set your boundaries, when you ask for what you want at your employer, you give permission to the next woman, man beside you to do the same thing.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
true. Yep.
All right.
All right.
So that concludes our chat on capacity. You can see us next week. Get resourced here live on YouTube, Facebook. Like and subscribe. You can also join our Facebook group at Get Resource Group for Conscious Co-Creating Relationships, where we'll share posts all around our theme this month in May. Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Wow.
Travis, sexuality stuff. I'll have to have you over so you can tell us what you learned. Bye, Tabitha.